At the beginning of the week, someone asked me about living legacy life trend. What do I mean by it? And it took me back for a second, and I realized, hang on a minute, I don't think I've ever explained what trend meant in connection to living legacy life. So I wanted to share a little bit about that today, and then take a look at what might be five core steps to be able to interact with this trend and leave you with the thought of why it's important that living legacy life as a trend is important in your life. And then I have a quick activity of how to bring these concepts into action. So, with the very first one, the idea here was the legacy trend, the living legacy life trend. And trend is really about something that's on a bigger scale that has some kind of direction to it. There is what I would call a movement associated with it. Some classic examples were fashion trends. Something happened in Europe, over to North America it came. There was some trends around dealing with environmental issues over the years, and now I would like to suggest, having done a little bit of research, that there is a living legacy life trend that we can take a look at that influences our daily actions and intentions. And I wanted to bring it to the foreground because of some conversations I've been having. And it's just timely that this person asked about it. So I guess it was meant for me to offer this video up today. I think one of the core elements of this whole story is the following: live from the legacy you intend to leave. And that would be a trend in a sense if we could get a lot more people involved with that. But when I've had these conversations, persons would say, well, isn't legacy, and I'm going to just take a look at some of my notes I have here. Isn't legacy more about building and architecture and what you're leaving behind, hospital wings or something like that? And I go, there's a possibility there that certainly, that it's not for every person. Then they would go, okay, well, what about gaming and software and that whole area? They keep using the word legacy there. I say, they do. I don't know enough about it to make any kind of brilliant comment about it, but there is this notion of legacy coding that is available. Then there's the legacy associated with spirituality and religion, and what does that mean? Where does that take people? There are notions of the legacy church, calling it a church of legacy. So that's out there. Another one that became kind of interesting was, and you see it on YouTube channels, persons interviewing someone, and they would say, well, how old are you? I'm 35, I'm 55, I'm 65, I'm 85. And then they'd say, okay, what would be a piece of advice you would give your younger self? Or is there something about your life that's important? And they would answer it, and they would make up the videos and put them up. And others would be, let's meet at the bench, park bench, have a conversation, record it, and put it up, and put them under the banner of legacy stories. And I went, that's interesting, and that's great. But there's more to it, I think. And that more to it is making a direct connection between social, cultural, health, and wellness issues. There's something to be said for it from a technological, in terms of what's happening in today's world and what's available to us. If there's something to be said around the environmental aspect of this as well, in terms of how we're approaching the issues that are at hand with our interactions with nature, with planetary cycles. And then there is the economic aspects of it, in terms of, is the current economic systems, do they work? Don't they work? Where might we take them? And then there's the political systems, similar questions. Do they work? Don't they work? What can we do to make them better? And so, if there are these social, cultural, technological, environmental, economic, and political interactions that we're having, some of them have trends associated with it. And some come up more and then go down, and others come up in the other spots. But it's this living legacy trend, navigating this midlife, making decisions, finding that sense of purpose and clarity and confidence to live the life that you attempt to live, to embrace your unique journey and your adventures together, and to be able to decide the fun, freedom, and fulfillment that you wish to share with others, whether it's through contributions, stories, or even projects. So there is a trend here. It's not as obvious. I'm starting to see it. And I think my work, the what I'm contributing, and to those who are do something similar in this world of legacy, there's something that's going to start to unfold, and I think it's going to go wider and wider and wider, deeper and deeper, simpler and simpler, wiser and wiser, kinder and kinder, whatever way you want to take a look at it. Because this modern age is bringing forth, from a technological point of view, the notion of digital storytelling. How easy is it to grab a phone, do a recording, put it up somewhere? It's there, and to be able to do that storytelling, whereas before it was written down or it was oral, there's a lot more opportunity for community engagement, whether local, regional, national, international. It's happening more and more, and therefore we can access more ideas and insights about living our life, living our legacy life. And then we can get together and do collaborative projects. That's kind of exciting, which is not as easy as it used to be. But today's world, using online communication platforms, you can have conversations with persons from, again, anywhere in the world. So there's a lot of things that are shifting from a technology point of view that makes it kind of interesting. But I think what's really coming to the foreground is that people, in terms of from a social cultural point of view, living longer, but yet still maybe having health and wellness issues, experiencing economic, political sort of ramifications depending on where you live, and access to services and all that. But yet at the same time, each person has their values, their life lessons, their beliefs, the efforts that they have put into making communities better, families better, friends better. There are a lot more of these activities, but they haven't necessarily come under a banner of some kind. And that's why I chose Living Legacy Life. I'm not saying I'm the only person using that term. There are other people using different words and different kind of combinations. But I think that at the sort of the wave, the crest of the wave that's there, most of the people that I'm finding are doing it because they wanted to have all of us to share those really wonderful moments, those meaningful moments, that lasting impact, that timeless legacy story for those who are present and for those who've not arrived yet. And that's that intergenerational story that's possible to tap into. I thought that what I would do is I would give sort of five summary connecting points to this living legacy life trend that I've been mentioning. Now, they'll weave together. So these five will weave together. So think of them as fibers that when they weave together, they move through threads and strings and cords to rope, and you're able to pull it in that sense. And so I'm going to go through these points, and what I'm hoping to do is really captivate your heart, your wholeheartedness, and get involved with this, and to encourage it, because there is the head, heart, and hands, feet. And a lot of times we do things from our head and our hands, And then we're asked to really go a little deeper, take a look at it from our heart point of view. I'm attempting, and now in my life, and if we haven't met, I'm Stephen. I'm with Wealth Movement, WELLTH, and it's about well-being and well-living to the nth degree, and the sense of movement mentioned in terms of trends. But think about it from the physical movement all the way up into social cultural movements. So the notion of the movement of kindness, the movement of living legacy life. And I'm doing it because I'm a solo ager in my 71st revolution of the sun. I have started that now. And I'm really interested in this, and I would like to leave a timeless legacy, a lasting legacy. So I'm attempting to frame this up, create this YouTube channel, and be able to share it with you. And therefore, I would certainly encourage your comments below, asking questions, letting me know how things are going. Does the topic land? Am I on track? What's going on? I certainly would appreciate it. Well, I'm in my 70s. There are those in their 60s, 80s, 50s who could benefit from this. So if you're picking this up and you're in your 60s, maybe you know someone in their 80s or 40s that could benefit. So please pass it along. And that in itself is a way of looking at trend. Remember, trend is something that is shifting direction, it's moving from one place to another. I remember my days in social geography, and there was the sense of what's called a social phenomenon that moves through a cascade and a contagious format. And I think of the champagne glasses piled up, pour champagne into the top, and down it comes. It's the sense of cascade, then it becomes contagious in the glasses, cascades over, contagious, cascades. And just even sharing with your friends and family that this video exists is like doing a cascade, and then it become contagious amongst your family and friends, and then having conversations about it. So that's another way to look at the story of this video. So the first one I wanted to share with you is discover how living legacy life encourages your purpose. If there's anything that I hear on an ongoing basis is as I get a little older, I sort of feel like I've lost my sense of purpose. I had it with my career and maybe with my family and my friends, but as I'm getting a little older, I seem to not have the same sense of purpose. And I go, oh, hang on, isn't there some way of looking at this and shifting it and saying, okay, with a trend like living legacy life, could you not just jump into that through everyday actions and say, hey, I want to deepen my life values. I want to create something that's meaningful. I want to inspire other generations. So you could start writing something. You could start shooting videos. You could be mentoring. You could be crocheting. You could be designing a quilt. You could be sculpting. You could be doing bird watching and helping out with the bird count in your local area. You could be figuring out how to help some persons to navigate the internet. You. There are these small contributions. I don't know if small is the word I want to really use here. There's their heartfelt contributions of being able to assist others. That in itself is a great way to lean into that sense of purpose and the reasons for living the life that you want to live. So I'll leave that one with you. The next one is to unlock the secrets to staying relevant and engaged. Uh, One of the things that I always share with the persons when I interact, and I sort of hear that little bit of that, the dropping off into the hinder conversations, I go, hey, well, let's get into the help. How is it that you can remain relevant and be present in what's going on? How is it that you can do that? And people will answer, and I'll go, great. What's another way? What's another way? So you can do the same thing. Grab a journal and write down what are the ways that I can stay relevant with others. And there is so many opportunities for us. I appreciate, okay, if you go into, let's call it the economic political aspect of ageism, which is becoming a much more of an issue coming to the surface, I don't necessarily go, okay, I'm going to deal with ageism. What I'm dealing with is how to age with legacy, aging confidently, naturally, gracefully, and using language like that and attempting to figure out how that kind of connection and finding those opportunities allows that to take place. And I always remember is that I want to engage, not participate. Engage to me comes from the heart. Participate comes from the head. Remember that head, heart, and hands that I mentioned earlier? Engage from the heart, participate from the head. And so, if I'm going to remain relevant, how is it that I can engage with others? And that might be through some really wonderful collaborative conversations. Mentoring is a wonderful, holistic, reciprocal way in which to have conversations and being able to lean into that, becoming a legacy mentor as a possibility. The next one I want to look at is turn your experiences into impactful contributions. Now, I'm digging a little deeper into one here because I'm going and saying, of the experiences that you have, of the life lessons that you have created, understand, maybe written about, shot videos about, how is it that that can support and uplift the lives of others? And that's why there's a lot of really interesting YouTube channels that are coming up. Some of them are linked to, well, how do I start a YouTube channel in my 60s or 70s? And I go, great, that's wonderful. I would suggest I wouldn't necessarily just jump straight into it. I'm actually going to shoot a little bit of a video series about how to think through. I have an idea. I'd like to contribute it. How do I format it? How do I get it out there? And it isn't necessary to just go jump on YouTube, throw up some videos, and off you go. That can be one of the most frustrating ways to get to a point of, forget it. And that's not what I would hope for you. So if that sounds like that might be of interest to you, just put a comment down below. I'd be interested in that topic, and I'd be happy to chat with you in the comments section down below. But the impact that you can have is that because of your experiences, you can influence persons just simply through the conversations and the foreground conversations that you're having. That may be for the short point, but if you were to find a way, how can I have those conversations, deepen it, share the wisdom, be kinder in that, I might get to a point of being impactful. And that may have over the longer point. And that may actually get you to meet some new people, get some great new friends from anywhere in the world. Why not give it a go and see what takes place? It's the sense of actually deliberately figuring out how do your experiences over the last number of years, how can you reframe them, reformat them, reignite them, rescript them for sharing, shaping and sharing. Think about it and see what happens. Again, that's great where you grab your journal and just take some notes down and see what happens. On a Wednesday, I'll be sharing sort of the okay, this is my experience of living a legacy life. This is what I'm learning. This is how I'm doing it, and sort of truly from my heart offering it to you. So it's not so much of a like this kind of video where I'm sharing information, attempting to encourage you to engage with it, take some steps with it. So there's an influence impact, whereas that Wednesday one is I'm just sharing my story. If it helps, it helps. If it doesn't, it helped me. And that is an important contribution to living my legacy life and being confident in what I do. The next one I wanted to take a look at is walk with clear vision for the future. Now, walk here is really important because you can bicycle, you can get on a bus, you can take a boat, you can do any number of ways of transporting yourself from A to C. But what I've found is that walking is a really great way to give yourself the time to think through things, to feel through some things, to get in touch with what your soul, your spirit may want to share with you, to tap into that bigger picture. And that's why it's a vision for the future. If I was to reword it slightly, while that vision that you create is for the future, it's framed from the future. You're bringing some aspects of what you would want to manifest in the future and bringing it into the present, that vision elements into the present, so that you can move forward and meet the future. And living a legacy life has that available to you if you want to take that up. And that's where you start to plan that lasting, timely, impactful legacy approach that you want to get involved with. Now, that can be contributions, stories, and or project combination of those. And that's what this channel is about, is helping you to frame those up. Because what you're attempting to do is figure out, what do I want to share? What is it that I would like to get out there for the world with the planet from the whole? So, again, it's sort of saying to ourselves, have a vision, figure out what that is, connect it with future and present, and then bring the best of history, bring the best of what it is that you've learned, figure out what you can do, and then share that. That is what I've done with this channel as a whole. There are things from the future I'd like to see, Living Legacy Life Trend, actually growing it as a movement. I'm bringing the best of what it is that I've learned over the many years and all the different work capacities that I have, and bring it to the foreground. So we'll see what happens. And again, comment below, because maybe you have a question here or about, and see what we can do. If you have a comment, please offer it up. If you've got a connection to someone who is doing something that might be of help to persons, you can make mention of that as well. That'd be great. The next one I want to take a look at, this one is near and dear to me, is because in the sort of sub theme of a autobiography I'm writing, I'm an ordinary man having extraordinary experiences. So I'm encouraging you to start living your extraordinary life today. Now, you can, instead of using extraordinary in front of life, you could say good, great, memorable, remarkable, extraordinary, legacy, whatever it is that might tickle your fancy, which way you would like to do that. And what you're doing is you're attempting to align that life that you want to live with that adjective to give you a sense of what that living life is going to be like, that quality of life, that standard of living that you have for yourself, and the kind of experiences you want to create and invite into your life. And through that, what is it that you want to live? So the words that you might use to describe your life, to describe and explain your living, all those words matter. So select them that really make some sense to you, because you'll find that that would be of great value. What I would like to do is just suggest to you why it matters. Why is living a legacy life matter? Why is it that these 5 points matter to you in living your legacy life? I think it matters is because your life is rich, and your life is deeper, it's better, it's kinder, it's wiser, it's simpler when you get involved with living a legacy life. It matters because that quality of life, that standard of living, the adjectives that you would use, the sense of contributions, stories, and projects that you would offer that would be of assistance to others and assistance to yourself, that wholehearted approach. These are all things that matter about living this life. And I know that I'm seeking that fun, freedom, and fulfillment, that truth, trust, and transparency. I'm just attempting to find great ways in which to be here, get involved, doing things, having things, being things. I'm just giving it a go and just living life to the fullest. Now, I appreciate you have your own situation. You are on your unique journey. And remember, adventure together, ask others for assistance, get involved with them. And that's why I'm reaching out and asking, is there anything here that you would like to learn more about that I might be of assistance to you? Let me know. All right, it matters. Now, turning our attention back to um, an activity, what I would encourage you to do is to go grab like those recipe cards or bigger sticky notes and actually write down these five statements that I've just gone over, one per card. And then what you want to do is you want to say, okay, which statement goes before the other one? So in a sense, prioritize these statements. Which one goes, and then it's the next one, the next one, the next one. Now, this is what's really important is whatever the statement is, underneath it, define the terms that are in that statement. So, for example, the one about extraordinary life. What does extraordinary mean for you? Give it a go. Just write down what those terms mean. And I would encourage you with time, do all of the statements in terms of the defining them. Okay. But start with your priority statement. Then what you want to do is ask yourself, what does this statement bring to my life? You'd be amazed what will come of that. And then what you do is you say, okay, if that's what it would bring and I don't fully have it, what would be five actions that I could take to have this happen for myself? Give it a go and see what happens. And you might find that those five actions layer it out and give you some steps to go with. Now, what becomes really interesting here is who do you want to invite to join you on this adventure? Who is it you can ask for help, or the help might be, hey, do you want to walk together on this? Give it a go again. Who might you want to ask to adventure together? Now, I would be doing a disservice if I didn't say the following. Remember, you prioritize those statements on those cards and said it's in a certain order? I would encourage you to go to the fifth one and actually do the same as you've done for the priority one. Because you might find in that fifth one a lot of additional answers to questions that you have. I've done that many times and I found that to be most helpful because sometimes that which you sort of go, I'll do it later, someday. Well, someday is today. And what you sometimes have to do is actually walk into that which may be a little bit more uncomfortable for you. Maybe you don't like to have your face shown on video. Well, you could still shoot a video and not have your face show up. That's a possibility. Or maybe I want to push myself. There's an acquaintance of mine who has a visibility challenge about getting used to being on video and doing it within a community of support. So there are groups that could help you with that example, just that one example. So again, go to the fifth one, challenge yourself, and do the same steps for it as well. And at the end of all of this here, in terms of what's going on, I would encourage you to ask, now what else, so what? Not only in the exercise, but also from this video as a whole. What's going to pop up now are some videos that I would certainly suggest you go to next and watch and get a feeling for what's on the channel, but also to deepen your own participation in this living legacy life and getting involved with this trend and supporting it for others. So, with that, I thank you very much and take care.